Hello Moto GP enthusiasts. Welcome back to ZNGP Today. Marc Márquez called his opening day at Jerez acceptable, but cautioned that a home race podium looks optimistic after Friday practice. The reigning champion says his shoulder is improving, yet single-lap pace and specific corner weaknesses leave him more focused on survival than attack as Ducati chases Aprilia's benchmark. Marquez topped Friday at Jerez, half a second clear of his brother Marc, signaling a surprise twist as the European swing begins. While Ducati showed encouraging pace, Marc's single-lap struggles, especially through the long right-handers, underline that the factory still has work to do if it is to close the gap to Aprilia. Bagnaia's Friday crash at Jerez wrecked a bike carrying a new Ducati modification, denying him the chance to evaluate parts that could have helped the GP26. He returned on a second machine, showed competitive used tire pace and still progressed to Q2, but the loss running is a setback for Ducati's development plan this weekend. Marco Bezzecchi ended Friday third fastest, but warned that familiar issues reappeared on Jerez's high-grip surface. The Italian described the day as broadly positive, yet admitted that the circuit's characteristics exposed handling traits Aprilia has battled before. With Aprilia's early season dominance under scrutiny, the focus now shifts to targeted improvements for Saturday and the race. Don't forget to click subscribe button and the bell icon for MotoGP news update. Alex produced a standout performance to lead Friday practice, putting a full half-second on Marc and showing the Gresini Desmosedici in strong one-lap form. His affinity for Jerez, where he claimed his first Premier Class win last year, translated into immediate pace. Marquez, implicit, strong performance and confidence at Jerez. A surprise leader on day one reshuffles expectations. Alex's pace gives Ducati depth and raises questions about who will deliver when it matters most. Marc Márquez admitted he's losing most time in the final two fast right-handers and that his flying lap pace remains the weak point. While his race pace with used tires looks competitive, the new tire single-lap deficit left him needing a late run to secure Q2. We're gradually getting closer, but it's true that it's on the single lap that I'm suffering the most. When a rider can match rivals on used rubber but not on a fresh lap, qualifying position becomes a recurring handicap, especially at circuits where overtaking is tight. Fabio Di Giannantonio sat between the Marquez brothers in second, underlining that VR46 and satellite Ducatis can still extract pace from the GP26. His presence ahead of Marc suggests the package can be quick when the setup clicks. Multiple Ducatis near the front is a positive sign for Borgo Panigale, but the distribution of pace across riders highlights setup sensitivity rather than a wholesale return to dominance. Aprilia placed all four RSGPs in Q2 and, while not as emphatic as in earlier rounds, still looked competitive. Historical tire behavior at Jerez, and the likely switch to medium compounds for the long race, means Sunday could still favor the Noali machines. A single-day snapshot can mislead. Aprilia's consistent race performance and tire management remain the clearest indicators of their threat over a full Grand Prix. Jerez's tendency to punish soft tires means the medium could reshuffle the order on Sunday. Marc's stronger used tire pace hints at a race where tire management and consistency may trump outright qualifying speed. Teams that balance qualifying aggression with race durability will likely profit. A rider who can extract late race pace from a used tire set gains a strategic edge. Friday's headlines belong to Marquez, but the bigger story is Marc's unfinished business. Improved fitness and flashes of race pace are encouraging, yet single-lap frailties and specific corner weaknesses remain. Ducati has signs of recovery, but whether that translates into Sunday results depends on qualifying fixes, tire strategy, and whether Marc can reclaim his razor-sharp one-lap form. For now, Jerez has offered hope, and a reminder that momentum can come from unexpected quarters. Marquez secured direct entry to Q2 with 5th fastest but described the session as either good nor terrible. His priority was achieved, yet the result underlines that more work is needed to convert pace into a genuine podium challenge. It was an acceptable day. We're in Q2. Securing Q2 is a baseline success, but at circuits where qualifying position matters, being only acceptable leaves little margin for error on race day. The enforced break allowed Marquez to work on his injured shoulder, and he reports better physical condition. Despite that, he admits he lacks the outright potential to attack at the moment, and is concentrating on consistent race performance. I feel in a good level to perform on the race track. Physical recovery can restore endurance and confidence, but translating that into peak one-lap speed often takes additional track time and setup refinement. Marquez said his race pace with used tires is competitive, typically between 4th and 6th, but his flying lap speed remains the weak link. Qualifying will therefore be crucial to determine his realistic race prospects. Riders who can match rivals on used rubber may still be disadvantaged if they cannot secure strong grid positions, especially at circuits with limited overtaking windows. The Spaniard identified sectors 2 and 4, and particularly the final 2 fast right-handers, as areas where he is losing time. Those corner-specific deficits echo earlier struggles and point to setup or physical limitations that still need addressing. When time loss concentrates in a few corners, targeted setup changes or riding adjustments can yield rapid improvements, if the root cause is correctly identified. Alex Marquez led Friday and set the benchmark for the day, with Fabio Di Giannantonio also showing strong pace. Ducati's depth gives the factory options, but Marc's relative shortfall on the flying lap tempers hopes for an immediate podium. Internal competition can be a double-edged sword. It demonstrates a bike's potential but also highlights individual mismatches that teams must resolve. Marc Márquez arrives at Jerez with improved fitness and encouraging race pace signs, yet his admitted lack of one-lap punch and corner-specific time loss make a home podium an optimistic target. Qualifying will be decisive. If he can close the single-lap gap, a strong race is possible. If not, the focus will be on damage limitation and extracting consistent points as Ducati continues its development push. Bagnaia fitted a modification also used by Alex Marquez for the session but crashed on the outlap after being held up by traffic and braking harder than planned. The front locked, he slid into the gravel and the bike was heavily damaged. I immediately destroyed that bike and wasn't able to test it as we should have. Losing a prototype run on an outlap is bad timing. It removes crucial data and forces the team to rely on a backup machine for the rest of the day. The modification was intended to address handling or front-end feel. Without its evaluation, engineers lose immediate feedback on whether the change moves the GP26 toward Bagnaia's preferred character. The gravel trap damage also consumed resources and limited iterative work during the session. When a new part is destroyed before validation, teams must either gamble on rollout or delay decisions until further testing. Both outcomes complicate short-term development. Returning on his spare machine, Bagnaia matched the pace of the frontrunners on used tires and produced a time attack that put him 6th overall, safely into Q2. That performance suggests the rider can still extract race-relevant speed despite the lost test. Strong used tire pace is encouraging for race prospects. It shows resilience and the ability to manage tire degradation even when setup work is interrupted. Ducati will likely attempt to reintroduce the modification in tomorrow's running or at the post-race test if the part can be repaired or rebuilt. Engineers must weigh the risk of rushing an unvalidated change against the potential upside of a setup that better suits Bagnaia's braking and turn-in preferences. The priority is to gather controlled data. A hurried refit without proper checks can create more uncertainty than clarity. The crash is a setback but not a weekend ender. Bagnaia's ability to post competitive times on the spare bike keeps him in contention for a solid grid slot and a points finish. However, the lost opportunity to test the new modification delays any immediate fix to the handling issues he has described. If Ducati can validate the part in the next session or at the Monday test, the long-term benefit could outweigh the short-term disruption. If not, the team must rely on incremental tweaks to manage performance on race day. Bagnaia's crash removed a valuable development opportunity at a critical moment, but his recovery to Q2 shows the rider and team can limit the damage. The key question is whether Ducati can retest the modification soon enough to influence setup choices for the race or the Monday test. For now, the weekend becomes a mix of damage control and targeted work to preserve race pace while keeping development plans alive. Bezzecchi posted the third quickest time, half a second behind Alex Marquez, who led the session with a clear margin. While Bezzecchi was satisfied with his overall pace, he acknowledged that the resurfacing of old problems tempered the optimism. "It went quite well. A few problems that we had in the past came up. Jerez's naturally high grip, especially when combined with soft tires, magnified handling behaviors Aprilia has previously struggled with. While grip can enhance corner speed, it also exposes instability in transitions and tire sensitivity that remain hidden at lower grip tracks. The RSGP's recurring issues suggest that its setup window is narrow, with small adjustments producing outsized effects. Bezzecchi and his engineers must refine balance, tire warm-up and front-end feel to avoid repeating compromises seen in past seasons. Aprilia's strength has been adaptability, but recurring problems hint at underlying traits in the RSGP's DNA. Engineers must decide whether to chase incremental fixes or revert to a baseline that worked at similar high-grip venues. Bezzecchi's objective for Saturday is clear: iterate overnight and extract gains in both riding and bike setup. He emphasized the need for hard work, every night, to improve confidence and machine behavior. Overnight adjustments typically focus on suspension settings, geometry tweaks and tire pressure optimization. These marginal changes can transform rider confidence, especially in sectors where grip amplifies instability. Bezzecchi suggested the soft rear tire could be viable for Sunday's race thanks to Jerez's grip, but rising temperatures may force a switch to the medium. He described the choice between two strong options as a good problem to have. Tire selection will be tactical, soft for explosive early pace, medium for durability. Temperature and track evolution will be decisive, and Aprilia's ability to adapt quickly could determine race day success. Aprilia's early season dominance has been built on consistency and adaptability, but Jerez's resurfacing of past problems is a reminder that no package is flawless. Bezzecchi's comments highlight the importance of continuous refinement, even when results suggest superiority. Bezzecchi's Friday pace confirms Aprilia remained competitive, but the return of familiar problems is a warning sign. If the team can stabilize the RSGP overnight and make the right tire call, Bezzecchi should convert his speed into a strong qualifying and a controlled race. If the handling quirks persist, the weekend may hinge on tire management and incremental gains rather than outright dominance. For Aprilia, Jerez is both a test of their current superiority and a reminder that past weaknesses can resurface when conditions change. Thanks for watching ZNGP Today, and this is your Moto GP news update. And see you next time!